Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bridget and I'm an artist and art educator. In this video, we're drawing a realistic rose. Drawing with a pencil and using a light hand, we're starting off with its diamond shape outline. And once we're happy with its size and shape and its position on the page, then we can go in with its petals. Now I like to begin with its outside petals first. The outside petals are usually the largest, so it's good to draw them first because they will dictate how big the other petals are. Now when I draw petals, I pay attention to their outline and I try to flatten them with my mind's eye, if that makes sense, and I try to draw exactly what I see. I try not to make it up or draw it how I think it should be, but I try to draw exactly what I see and I try to trust my eyes. So I'm drawing using a real rose that's right in front of me. And so what I do is I look at the rose and I look at my drawing, and I look at the rose and I look at my drawing. And I spend most of my time drawing looking at my reference, which is the rose in front of me. A wise teacher once told me that 80% of drawing is looking. So make sure that you are always looking at your reference. And to start off, I am just keeping each of the petals very simple. I'm not worried about the details. I'm just getting those outlines done and on the page so that I'm happy with their size and their shape and their location in the rose. As you move towards the center of the rose, the petals will get smaller and smaller. And it's easy to find yourself lost in the middle of all these petals, so just draw very slowly and look very carefully. What I like to do is to use my pencil to follow where my eye is looking. So as I'm looking at the rose, I'm using my pencil to draw what I see without looking at the paper. And this technique is called a blind contour drawing, meaning you are not looking at your paper, so it's blind, and you are drawing the contour, the outline of your reference. So once I'm happy with how the petals are, I can then go in and add those line details and texture. Now, normally I would leave this to one of the last steps that I do, but I wasn't sure if I was going to leave this as just a line drawing or if I was going to add some shading. So at the last minute, I decided I was going to shade it so that way you all can see how to shade a rose. I'm beginning my shading with just a mid-value pencil, which is just a standard HB pencil. An HB is right in the middle of all of the pencil shades. If you want to go darker, you would use a B. If you want to go lighter, you would use an H. And I like to start off with this type of pencil because it has a good range in value. You can get some darker shades and some lighter shades without having to change your pencil. So when you start shading, determine where your light source is. So ask yourself, where is the light in this drawing? And wherever your light is where you will keep your highlights. So in this case, my light is coming from the upper left, so all of my lightest shades and where I'm going to leave the highlights will be on the upper parts of the petal and the left side of the petal. And then all of my shadows will be underneath the rose and on the right side of each of the petals. And once again, I'm following the reference that's in front of me and I'm paying attention to how the light is hitting it at the time. Roses are very crinkly flowers, so they have lots of folds to them and a variety of shades even within one petal. So there are a lot of midtones to play with. You're not just going to have a dark, a midtone, and a highlight. You're going to have a range all within one flower. And I'm slowly building up these midtones. If I want something to be a little bit darker, I just go over it again and again and again. I'm using the same amount of pressure each time that I go over each section. That way I can really control how dark something goes, and then I can easily make it light again with an eraser if I need to. And this type of technique you can really do with your B-type pencils. The H-type pencils will only go so dark, but the B-type pencils will go really dark, and you'll be able to get really nice mid values with them. So now I'm using my blending stick. Blending sticks are basically just newsprint rolled up really tightly. You can get them at the art store for like $1 or so, or you could make them yourself at home, and you can get them in a variety of sizes. And you can use them to blend away those harsh lines or edges, or you could actually use them to draw. And you don't need a blending stick necessarily, you could just use your finger, but I find that a blending stick works better. So now I'm taking one of my darker pencils, which is a 2B pencil, and I'm putting in my darkest shadows. And I'm using this after my blending stick because the blending stick will make your shadows a little bit lighter, and I wanted to create that stark contrast. I didn't want this dark to be blended out into the rest of the midtones. I wanted to keep it pretty pure. So that's why I'm going in afterwards. And I'm focusing on where I think the darkest parts of the flower are, which are in between the petals and right underneath the folds. And this contrast will really make the flower come to life. It'll make it look so three-dimensional and so realistic. And I'm alternating between using the tip of the pencil and using the side of the pencil, depending on how fine of a detail I want to create. And you'll see that I use it to bring back some of those details that I lost with the blending stick, just to add those lines back in and to bring back that texture. And that's how to draw a rose. If you liked this video or learned something, give it a like. If you want to see more, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment of what you want to see next. Thanks for watching.